Tonight's hook first. At 11 p.m., her best friend's avatar lit up her boyfriend's phone, and a single preview line called her boring. That buzz didn't just interrupt a quiet night. It rewrote the truth about two people she trusted most. Good evening. I'm your host, and this is the Confession Stories. Tonight, a woman from the American Midwest, now living in Seattle, tells us what betrayal sounds like when it hides behind jokes, late-night texts, and a smile you thought was safe. She won't shout. She won't smear names. She'll choose a quieter revenge and a softer kind of strength. Let's begin.
We were supposed to leave early Friday, a small weekend trip, coffee on the road, the ferry, cheap motel sheets that smell like bleach. Ethan said he'd go to bed early so he could drive. He brushed his teeth, kissed my forehead, and was asleep by 10. I stayed up, towel around my shoulders, letting my hair air dry while rain pressed against the window like a quiet hand. Seattle does that, turns sound into weather. I scrolled a little, checked the route, picked which sweater I'd wear. I wasn't worried about anything. I was content. At 11 p.m., his phone lit up on the nightstand. Just one buzz. I thought, work. He gets late pings from his team all the time, but the avatar wasn't Slack blue or a calendar alert. It was a photo I knew by heart. Dark hair, red lipstick, a smile that looked like a dare. Maya, my best friend. At 11 p.m. What could she be texting Ethan? And why not me? I'm not a snooper. I was raised on mind your business and trust the people you love. But something in my chest tightened. Not anger, not fear, just pressure, like weather about to break. The phone brightened again with a preview, not the full sentence, just enough to feel like a blade pressed flat. I looked at Ethan, breathing slow. One arm under the pillow like a boy asleep after camp. Then I looked at his iPad on the dresser, same Apple ID, always signed in because he hated passwords. Messages were synced, his convenience, my clarity. I remember thinking, don't. And yet my hand moved, like the decision had already been made. Maybe that's what people mean when they say God shows you what you need to know. The screen bloomed with blue and gray bubbles. No lock, no barrier, just a conversation mid-flow. Maya, did you tell her you're tired for tomorrow? LOL, she won't question anything. Ethan, she's asleep already, early day. She's sweet. Just boring sometimes. Truth didn't hurt yet. It organized. They scrolled back for me as if the thread wanted to be read. Plans, jokes, a photo from the bar last week, his hand in the frame, the rim of a glass, a blurred reflection of Maya's smile. Then the line that tilted the room. Ethan. Even in bed, it's like she's scared to be alive. Maya. You always wanted someone who could keep up. Ethan. You mean you? The radiator hissed like it disagreed. Outside, a bus groaned down the hill and faded. I could wake him. I could call her. I scrolled. He said I had no ambition, that I'd always be small town, like a diagnosis you never shake. Maya fed him history he didn't earn, my high school heartbreak, the time I cried through prom photos and smiled anyway. She wrote, "She still dresses like that." He sent her a picture of me at the lake, hoodie, no makeup, wind pushing hair across my mouth. Ethan, tell me she doesn't look like someone's babysitter. 3 crying, laughing emojis. I felt something close, softly, the way a door catches and settles, not rage, not yet. Just the end of a hallway I'd walked for years. At 11:14 p.m., I locked the iPad and set it down. I made chamomile tea, the same brand my mom keeps in her pantry back in Iowa. Steam touched my face, the window fogged, the city thinned to watercolor lights. I wanted to shake him awake and ask, when did I become a story you told to feel bigger? But the question felt too small for the answer I already knew. So I sat and listened to the rain do what rain does, make a night feel honest. We'd still leave early Friday. He'd drive. I'd choose the sweater I'd planned, and somewhere between the ferry and the motel, I'd decide what to do with the truth handed to me, clean and cold, like a hotel keycard. Maybe betrayals don't begin with screams. Maybe they begin with a buzz at 11 p.m., an avatar you know by heart, and a feeling you can't misname anymore. The next morning, Ethan made pancakes. He smiled like nothing inside me had shifted. Maybe that's the cruelest part of betrayal, how normal the world looks while something in you quietly bleeds. He said, "You packed the sweaters, right? We'll stop by the lake first." And I said, "Sure." One word that tasted like metal. The whole drive, I replayed the messages. Every laugh, every emoji, every word that turned my body into a joke. At a gas station restroom, I looked in the mirror. No makeup, hair in a loose bun, sweatshirt soft from too many washes. Maybe they're right, I thought. Maybe I am plain. But the reflection didn't agree. It looked tired, yes, but honest, and I realized that's what they mocked. Honesty. That night, after we got home, Ethan fell asleep fast. Silence was loud when you knew there was more to hear. I opened the iPad again. Maya. Remember when she thought she'd moved to New York? Ended up in Seattle? Classic. Ethan. She means well, but there's no future there. I need someone who can build with me. Maya. You mean someone without the flyover mindset? They laughed. He sent a voice note. I didn't play it. Transcript popped below. She tries, but she's cold. Still awkward. Lies there and stares at the ceiling. That line broke something. Not because it was about sex, but because he'd turned intimacy into gossip. He gave my vulnerability to the one person who could weaponize it. Maya. That's because she's never been touched right. Ethan. Maybe I should show her what that means. A winking emoji, then a photo. Bordeaux glasses at Alder and Pine, our corner booth. I recognized the marble veining. We'd fought there once. And made up there. No screaming, no breaking, just me, shaking, not from anger but disbelief that people could be this small. They laughed about my love. They made it something dirty. He told her how I once cried when he forgot my birthday. She wrote, she always needs attention. He replied, that's why she'll never go far. She clings. They built a story where I was weak, naive, replaceable, and the worst part, they were convincing each other it was true. Around 2 a.m., I turned off the screen. Streetlight cut a line across the wall. He mumbled in his sleep. Maybe my name, maybe hers. It didn't matter. That was the moment humiliation became clarity. Because once you've been spoken about like that, you stop fearing loss. They already lost you. I stayed. That surprises people. They expect rage or plate smashing. But what I felt was strategy. Ethan still thought I was the woman who folded his shirts and forgave small cruelties. He didn't notice my silence change shape. It wasn't surrender anymore. It was data collection. I smiled when he kissed my cheek, said goodnight, and every night after that, I read another piece of their conversation. Screenshots, drive folders. They'd planned weekends together. She'd written, "You make me feel seen." They were blind to what was coming. I started saving things, messages, receipts, dates, not for scandal, but because truth reads best when documented. He was pitching a marketing project to a firm Maya consulted for, his big break. She was the inside connection. I waited, smiled through dinners, packed his lunches, pretended not to hear the keyboard clicks after midnight. Each glance was practice in invisibility, an underrated skill, letting someone think you're gone while you quietly reposition the mirror. 3 weeks later, procurement triggered a standard pre-award compliance review. I didn't create it. I only sent an anonymous link labeled personal correspondence, potential conflict of interest. No claims, just documentation. Let paperwork say what I wouldn't. The following Monday, he came home pale. "The project's on hold," he said. "Someone flagged a relationship issue." "With Maya?" I asked. He froze. Silence doesn't lie. It panics. He drank more after that. I stopped asking where he went. He thought I was giving him space. I was clearing mine. "Maya called once, blocked number. Did you tell anyone?" "About what?" I said, and hung up. By spring, the project was canceled. He lost the contract. She lost the client. Their story, where I was dull and naive, collapsed under its own arrogance. But I didn't leave for revenge. I left because I'd outgrown the version of myself that still needed their apology. One morning, I packed 2 suitcases. One for what I owned, one for what I'd learned. Left the key beside his coffee mug with a sticky note. "Hope you find someone exciting." No signature, no goodbye. Breaking the lease cost me a month's rent. Peace was pricier. And der ends. I loaded a U-Haul, drove east on I-90 until Seattle disappeared behind the fog. I didn't cry. I turned on the radio, stopped for gas, bought a Trader Joe's paper bag of snacks. For the first time in months, the reflection in the window looked like someone real again. It's been a year. Sometimes I forget his voice. Other times I still hear it. Not in my ears, but in the spaces he used to fill. Healing doesn't erase, it rearranges. A job offer brought me to Chicago. Cheaper rent kept me. Top floor near the river, mornings smell like coffee and brick dust. On the sill, a stubborn plant I call perseverance. Every Sunday I record these stories, not for pity or revenge, but for anyone who's ever felt small inside someone else's narrative. Sometimes the only way to reclaim your voice is to speak it, even if it trembles. People still ask if I ever confronted them. I didn't, and won't, not because they didn't deserve exposure, but because I deserved peace. A few months after I left, they tried to make it work. It didn't. Guilt and gossip don't make glue. Maya moved to Portland. Ethan switched jobs. I stopped checking. That's real closure, when curiosity turns into indifference, when your breath stays steady even when memory knocks. Sometimes I think of that 11 p.m. buzz, how one vibration shattered the story I thought I was living, and I'm grateful. It showed me not only who they were, but who I could become after them. I used to think love meant loyalty, how long you stayed, how much you forgave. Now I know it means boundaries, how gently you walk away when someone can't meet you where you stand. If I could speak to the woman I was that night, towel around her shoulders, staring at the screen, I'd tell her, "You're not boring. You're not cold. You're not small town. You're just too real for people who mistake drama for depth." And if she asked, "Will it stop hurting?" Yes. But not all at once. One morning you'll brew coffee, hear the city wake, and realize the world didn't end. It just made space. I don't hate them. Hate's just another leash. I wish them exactly what they gave me, time to sit with their silence. On windy mornings, the French press crackles. I sit by the window and watch river buses cut the cold. Maybe forgiveness isn't saying it's okay. Maybe it's choosing not to carry their noise anymore. If you've ever been laughed at by the people who should have protected you, remember this: you are not the punchline. You are the page they can't rewrite. This was my confession. Not for them. For me.
If this found you tonight, and someone once laughed at your love, know this: you are not the punchline. You are the page they can't rewrite. Thank you for listening to The Confession Stories. If you have a true story to tell, share it with us. Details in the description. Your voice could be the next confession we honor here. Good night.